corporate leadership and the fall of capitalism, there is an interesting development over time that has happened and ensured that capitalism will not survive the human drive to profit, control, superiority, and ultimately competition. Because healthy competition is simply not grasped by the human race. It is an all or nothing type of competition that prevails in corporatism. And this is done under the banner of benevolence, good-heartedness, and service to society. But it is in fact a sociopathic, psychopathic behavior pattern of justification that is paramount within the design of our corporate leaders. They would follow a very specific path of self-deception, and the crucial moments of decision-making would be based on self-interest instead of what is best for all. Yet they will base their overall agenda on the idea that what they are doing is what is best for all. It is really fascinating. So let's look at a timeline of such corporate leadership development. It will start at the bottom of the ladder, where motivation will be used through points like positive thinking. Dale Carnegie, one of the positive thinking groups. Here it is important to understand that from the person's perspective, going to the course to be a positive thinker and to become successful, they are doing something really great for themselves. From the guy at the top's perspective, and this they will all deny, but they've done their sums. They need a certain percentage of the people gullible enough to pay money for this positive thinking guru stuff. They know one thing: some will make it and some won't, and they know that in the end, at the top, they're not really ever threatened, because they built in enough steps between themselves and the top of the corporate ladder to make it a lifelong journey to reach the spot. But the guy that's at the top never took a lifelong journey to get there. They only got enough fools to part with their money to actually cause the one at the top to become the leader. It is normally some idea, and through that idea is promoted the potential for many to make money. The actual mathematics is never done. The part that is emphasized is done so in isolation from the bigger picture, only in terms of the self-interest of the individual, so that they can see that the potential exists for them to actually make this promised money, this promised profit. Obviously, if one do the big picture mathematics, you'll notice, whoops, there is a little problem in all of this. And if you could track, if you dare, all the people that has ever been involved in this positive thinking money racket, and you follow the money, how many actually at the end of the day made a profit or even remotely got their investment back, you'll be astounded at how few it really is. But there is just no possibility that self-honesty will come to prevail within this racket. This racket then goes into another scene. Some would feel that they would like to do something for humanity, and they realize an interesting thing. There are certain aspects necessary if you want to ensure the dream of lifelong profit. You need to have a product you can manufacture cheap enough so that you can annihilate all competition, and you need absolute control of the market. That means you need the market share to be yours. Here there are much planning in the secret boardroom meetings, but you will normally have a primary leader that will sell the concept, that will boost the concept, that will get others with him in leadership to agree to see the wonderful point that will be sold, that a product will be manufactured at a cost, sold at a price that will make it, according to the sales pitch, available and affordable for all. Sounds wonderful. But again, if you study the whole ladder of corporatism in the last 70 years, especially after the Second World War, when self-interest really got out of hand, you'll notice an interesting thing. You had lots of businessmen, lots of small businesses, you had a lot of people supporting each other. And then slowly but surely creepeth inneth this monster, the good-hearted, benevolent corporate leader that is going to give every product to everyone at an affordable price, but will end up with total control and ensured profit from every single item sold in the world, becoming so filthy rich that a single corporate leader will end up owning and having more money than whole countries. And you don't call that greed. But they will all deny what they really did to do this, because it was justified along the way. It was made pretty, it was dollied up, it was presented as if what they were doing was what is best for all. And this insidious corporate monster has been devouring the job markets of the world for decades now, and it's getting worse. Just watch the news is now a daily thing. You know, this used to happen only every few months. Initially it was only every few years, as the corporate monster gobble up another competitor and a lot of people lose their jobs, and they downsize, and they merge, and the whole bloody thing would be happening, and blood would be on the streets. Now it's happening daily in the last moments of capitalism. And many of those that ended up leaving the corporate world now place casino on the stock exchange, hoping to hit the big one. And what happens? Again, the mathematics is not done. Again, the basic common sense is not applied. And again, you don't hear the actual story, the actual figures. And there are a few that will make money. Just in the same story as the few that rose on the corporate ladder. What would be the primary point of those that's rising? They'll have a discipline. They will have a fascinating obsession to annihilate all competition and to be the ultimate winner. And they will do that no matter what the cost or consequence, because it's justifiable. They really are psychologically completely diseased, and the worst possible example of what life could be as the human race. Yet they are our leaders. They have all the money, and they will take whatever they can and destroy many, many lives, and yet be protected by one insidious thing. This whole idea that everybody is dreaming to also have the same opportunity. The problem is you're not psychologically diseased enough to actually become this leader. You're not disciplined enough to stick to your obsession to win, and you're not willing to destroy everyone. So there you have a form of integrity left. You can only get to the top of the corporate ladder if there is no integrity, and you don't care what you have to do, because you know one thing: it's a dark world, and if you want to win, you have to go all the way. Because if you don't go all the way, you're not going to end up as the winner, as the control. Now, if you could be the little angel that sits there listening to the thoughts and the schemes of these leaders, you'll be astounded to see what and how it's done and how it's justified. Fortunately, there is a way that you can work these things out, which is simply with mathematics. But we know how many people is going to do that, because the information that is given as relevant is never the complete picture. You see, there is a secret mind in every human being. Those things you refuse to share, which you believe will never come out. You are in for a little surprise. There is not a single thing that you have ever thought or done that will not be revealed. That's the whole point of existence, is to find out who you are, to let you do these things under the belief that somehow you're going to be hiding from the actual truth of yourself. Fascinating that this is even happening. But here we have it. The leaders would then employ people which will vie for the position as spin doctors, as advertising agencies, and that will find ways. And what is the motivation for an advertiser? They've got to get the person to buy the product of their corporate employer. What do they have to do to get there? Doesn't matter. There is really not a stone that will be left unturned to make sure that they can move the human being to buy a product. What does it actually actually imply you're being forced to buy stuff you don't need by actual brainwashing, because that is advertising success. So when something sells well, what do you know? Can you even grasp what it means? It means you are the result of successful brainwashing, because your decision has been manipulated to end up spending the money you have on a specific product. And have a look, the money you have is never enough to buy everything you need. It is only enough to buy some things, and to make sure that you buy the things that will ensure the corporate success story to continue. They've got to be very, very effective in getting you to make that decision. Are you in any way actually able to even realize that that is what is happening inside your mind? Obviously not, otherwise you wouldn't have been doing this. You wouldn't have. But yet you will look at other people and you will see that it is happening to them, but you would believe it's not happening to you. That's like really strange, isn't it? That you can walk in the same society, seeing what is happening to everyone around you, but claim and believe it's not happening to you. And you know what? Every human being is the same. Everyone is doing this. It's the same. If you start off as this wonderful, positive thinker that's going to make a success of your life, and you go into financial services or into sales, and you build yourself up, and you do all this training, and you become this wonderful person, and everybody loves you. And then the moment arrives where it is just no longer enough, and you start looking at how to make more money, create the business where you have control, where you have the profit, where you can make it more affordable to everyone, and off you go, and there you are developing and climbing the corporate ladder, and eventually where do you end up? If you are deliberate enough, if you are driven enough, if you are willing to destroy everyone in your path, you'll get to the top. And what you will do is you will surround yourself with people whose loyalty you buy, because they're never really, really loyal. You know that. Therefore you pay them that they can go nowhere else. But you don't give them enough money that they can do what you've done. You give them just not enough, but just too much. So the person is stuck. They're in complete fear, and therefore must dedicate themselves loyally to the corporate dream. Work as a team, and you employ people to drive in these concepts and ideas, so that there is no backchat, so that they do not divide their attention within their own minds. They must be completely brainwashed, loyal to the corporate dream. And those that's at the top, that know how they got there, they know what it takes to stay there, and will do whatever it takes to brainwash those that must remain loyal. It's quite a problem, because the human is an insidious thing. It keeps on compromising itself and everyone else, always with the idea that it can do it better than somebody else. It's like this drive, this want, this need to be some God is really very heavily embedded within the human being. You just cannot create a society that is best for all. You have to win. We call it human nature. Because you're the outsider looking at the picture, and therefore when you look at the picture, you've been trained to always find fault with the picture and to imagine how you can do it better. Can you actually do it better? No, you can't, but you can imagine it. And that imagination is the thing that's the problem, because you could take that imagination and with that imagine yourself to be the next leader. And then what happens? Inevitably, you may try to create a product. I mean, for that there are various opportunities. That this is tailor-made to trap the fools that's willing to try their hand at this game. Because the guys that know the game, they know there's enough fools that will always want to get rid of their money. They won't make it, they'll fall, they may make it, but most don't. You can go and do the math, you can check the figures, you'll find astounding how it is how many people has failed throughout the years with their hands at this corporate thing, ending up just as cannon fodder along the way, fueling the greed of those that wins. They simply cannot get enough. So once they've started, they want more, and they will branch out and control more and control more and control more and control more. Can you imagine that there are actually human beings in corporate positions that do understand all of this and that deliberately do it, that really do not give a rat's ass for anyone but themselves? That's the only way they could get where they are. Don't you get it? Why are you not there? Because you don't have the discipline. You don't have the consistency. You don't have the will to go to such extremes to help yourself. You don't have the dedication to a goal. These corporate leaders know how to breathe. They do things breath by breath, meticulously taking it apart, ensuring that there is not a single point that's missed, because they know their lives depend on it. And so they become very successful. They do create products, obviously cheaper, but with a smoother expiry date. See, that's what a warranty is. A warranty is a guaranteed expiry date, so that the thing can break. It was cheap enough, the person will buy it again, and you've made more money. Such a simple thing. Problem is, the longer a product lasts, the less money is going to move. So we are now down to warranties of 1 year on most products. Isn't it wonderful? Have a look how this is programmed you. You've accepted it so completely that when the thing breaks, you simply buy another one. And you even call it, this is the modern lifestyle. And you're quite happy with it because you've become so addicted to buying the next pretty picture. Not really too worried about how it functions. When the picture is more important than the technology. This is really the big thing, isn't it? That all has been programmed over time. You've been specifically designed to become like this. And on all of this, we have never considered for a single moment how it really works, because you believe you know how it works, because you know you can make the decisions that will make you happy, and you can make the decisions that within the game will give you some wins. And some wins are better than none. It's a really strange way the human will look at how their life unfolds and what is possible in this world. Will an equal money system change all of this? Yes, eventually, but not overnight. The problem is not so much the money. The problem is the one that is working with the money. So equal money would mean suddenly you can't compete. That means the chance to win is no longer within the design, although I disagree. I mean, you can still win by developing the next breakthrough that is to the benefit for all. The only difference now would be you won't get all control and money for it because it will belong to the human race, and you would have enough, so you won't need more than enough. So your motivation will now be actually in a way benevolent in an equal money system, because you'll be motivating yourself to enhance society, to become virtually a form of perfecting of society. Within the current system, obviously, you don't want society to be perfect because you know what you had to do to get to the top. You have to lie and cheat in every possible way. You have to create all kinds of ways to make sure you protect it. You never tell anyone because you know if anybody else finds out what you had to do, they may take what you have. And that's fucking scary. This whole corporate thing, wow. When is it that there is going to be a moment of self-honesty? It is necessary that we change the system to what is best for all. Many, many beings are suffering needlessly because of the greed of those that has misconstrued, misdirected, misled the populace, that they are acting in the interest of the populace and doing what's best for all by making products cheaper. That is not what really happens. That is just the spin put on it to make you feel that there is somebody that cares. Somebody you can't even speak to because they are like out of your reach. They have more money than you, yes. They are more evil than you, yes, because they really don't care what they have to do to get and remain at the top. You just don't have that. If you don't have that, you'll never get there. They're also mostly silent. They will never brag. They will never speak loudly as if they know anything, because they have things to hide. So the more one stay quiet, the better for your life, your lifestyle and your control. And therefore most of the corporate leaders are hidden. All of you that shout loud claiming that you know how it works, no you don't. You are a noise box and a fool. You are actually necessary because you keep everyone misdirected away from how it really works, the dishonesty within it all. You're part of the dishonesty. The dishonesty is that you have no idea how it really works. You have no idea how even a single thought is manufactured in your own mind, the mechanics behind it, the quantum dynamics of thought. All these great conspiracy theorists and those that shout and mislead the crowds, Alex Jones, David Icke, they haven't got a clue. Really, they haven't got a clue. They're not going to come around to bring about that which is necessary to produce a world that's best for all life. That's not their agenda. They don't even know what's their agenda for sure. They just want to be important. They want to be a winner. And they win by trying to destroy others. Why not just do what's best for our life? No, we can't do that. We really can't do that because the human nature is all just fucked up. Yes, you are part of the human nature. It needs to change. That's why equal money won't change the world. You have to change human nature. If we don't change human nature, we are pretty much doomed. You can do the math. Go and check it out. I mean, that's the problem. The problem is human nature. Human nature, though, is manufactured. You are participating in the manufacturing of a fucked up human nature every single moment, and you don't even know how you're manufacturing it. You have no idea about the quantum dynamics, the quantum mechanics that is involved in even a single movement of energy within the mind, within the physical. You better find out. Now I'm going to rub it, push at this whole ego thing of wanting to win. You're going to be a loser if you don't know how this works. You're going to lose your existence, lose your life many times over till you get to know how it works. If you don't, the forces that has been unleashed that now runs virtually by themselves are all following these insidious secret relationships that has created society as what it exists now. And now there are no more corporate leaders that can manage this. So the whole thing is getting out of control a little bit. And that'll get worse. Eventually it'll be all out of control. And nobody will know what to do. And you'll all start to just believe doomsday, the end is here. Yes, it is possible. I mean, it's possible. Everything is possible. And if one do not get to the point where you start to realize that inevitably the solution is not to try and do things differently. The solution is to understand how you did it in the first place. There's no point to change if you don't understand how you create it. That's common sense, isn't it? Why don't you know how you're creating it? You're too busy trying to win and control. Too busy trying to be important. Too busy competing. That's the nastiness of competition. You've seen it many times. Yet, instead of saying, I will not do this, you've competed. It is important to consider what we are sharing with the equal money system. We are also sharing how to understand the quantum dynamics of the quantum mechanics of the quantum reality, which is the perceptual awareness reality. What is now, what is awareness, what is present, what is past, what is future. All those things that are really actually critical, because if you allow these things to happen without understanding what is really involved, it gets out of hand, just like it's been happening in the world. And then it's very difficult to get it back in hand, because to have let it slip in the first place would mean, whoops, problem, you don't really know what the fuck is going on, so you're not really going to get it. So once it's slipped out of your hand, you can't get it back because you're behind. You don't understand how it functions. You need some help. We've got that. Will you do it? Well, most unlikely. I mean, you'll at the end of the day try and fix it with a gun, with violence. But you will never try and fix the problem with actual understanding. That's the whole point of competition. You have to protect what you have, that you do through war, that you do through violence, that you do through control, that you do through deception, lies, whatever it takes. But the very last thing a human ever consider is to be self-honest and to actually understand how things work. Nobody wants to know that. You don't want to know, because then you're going to see that you've been part of the problem all along, that you've been living a lie. Better to just shut up this voice that don't want to fucking stop. We're not going to stop. I mean, really. Within the quantum dynamics of existence, it is certain, already done, that everything that you know dear will collapse and will be taken from you. Every single thing. Doesn't have to happen, but you are insisting through not considering how it functions, understanding how it works. Once you understand how it works, you'll not shut up. You'll do everything in your power to show others how it works. Eventually, once you've gotten over your fear of what will others say, that you're no longer playing part in this immense lie and deception, that you now dare to speak the truth, and you are no longer part of the positive deception. Yes, it is a problem. I mean, the whole lie has been colored in so beautifully that you have to believe it. I mean, you have to admit that it seems really real. You experience it. I mean, I'm experiencing this positive energy, this positive vibrations. Yes, you are experiencing it. But you're creating it to experience it. But you don't even know how. So you are deceiving yourself without knowing how you're doing it. That's quite a difficult one to get out of, because if you don't even know how you got yourself in the position that you are now, you're going to have to lose everything before you may consider letting go or stopping, because it's just too easy. It is just too easy to remain this human that can turn a blind eye to reality in every way possible. It's just too easy. You're not interested in knowing how it works. Join us on the journey to life. It is arduous and a long journey, where you have to write 7 years minimum, simply in deconstructing yourself to eventually from this learn the quantum dynamics of the quantum mind, as to how you have created yourself, allowed and accepted yourself to be created. In fact, when you didn't really do anything except accept and allow it, you never actually had any creative will whatsoever. Only parroting, interpreting, looking for ways to win. It's like a form of evolution. Let's find the ways we will forever be losing. It is what it's been. Yes, it's designed like that to make sure only those that do really, really understand how it works get out of this one. The rest, I mean, there will be a loving memory at the end on a cross, your cross. It's the only thing that it ever was. Oh, yes, every contract you've ever signed, you've only actually signed with a cross. Your cross. You've left your mark. This mark is a mark on paper. I mean, how serious is this mark on a gravestone. What mark is this? It's the market. The market you've created. And there you want to make your mark in the market. So you have control. You have made profit. And you want to be there on this cross, presenting yourself as the product. The product of the greatness you have given to the human race. A cheaper product. Everyone can afford it. No bother that half humanity lives on pittance. The trickle-down effect, we've tricked them out of all of their inheritance for life on earth, as life on earth. So now that we have everything, we can spend it as widely as we can, living as boundlessly as we can, because then the trickle-down effect will feed some of the poor fucks we screwed out of their inheritance for their right to life on earth. You're not going to get away with it. You see, you can't. You don't control life. You're going to die. And there, the truth is that no matter what you believe, it's always irrelevant. Because whatever you believe is all part and parcel of the big lie. How you have personalized existence so that you can have profit and control. This will end, fortunately. So, investigate Destiny I process. Investigate EqualMoney. Take part. The whole point about EqualMoney is to not give you all the answers, so you have the opportunity to be part of the solution, to actually develop common sense, mathematical effectiveness, working out what is best for all, write it down, complete it. But very few can even master that at this stage. It is fascinating. It's like everybody waits for someone to save them. We're not going to save you. We're not going to give you the whole answer. You have to learn to work it out yourself. Work out what it means to do and create what is best for all. What is the dynamics that is necessary to be the dynamo of society, to bring about a society that actually give as they would like to receive. That you have to create, you have to write about it, you have to show how it works, develop it, be part of it. Take part in the forum at EqualMoney, discuss the points, take it apart, work out the mathematics, see where you are still competing, see where you have lost your own common sense to brainwashing. Break free. Who will you be when you break free? Support EqualMoney. Go to equaf.com, buy some stuff there. It'll challenge you. Some stuff you may even listen to. But, being a human being, you really don't want any information to enter your mind, because that is where you have complete control. So you don't want anyone to mess with your mind, because you've already made up your mind what you're going to buy next. You have already allowed the brainwashing you're going to be willing to allow. So, we don't want you brainwashed, so we're going to challenge you to stand up for yourself. But we know the likelihood is really limited. We will be sharing a lot more stuff in the time to come. Join us if you can. If you can't yet, hope you change before you die. That's like a critical thing. But, I mean, it doesn't really matter because death is a change. So if you don't change before you die, not to worry, you're going to change. Yes, you're going to change. That's certain. You don't have control over that. But we would suggest that it's obviously better if you can change before you die. It really makes a big difference to your total existence. Change if you can, but you can't really. It's only a few. We don't expect very many to be able to ever get through this on Earth. Fascinating, isn't it? Hope you got this far.